Beautiful Monday, a new week coming up. And I thought I'm going to go live this week because I got so many questions coming in from people in my community. And one of them I really want to address today because I think it's on the heart of mind of many people. And that is, what's next? What should I do? I have so many things I could do. I know so many skills. I have many talents. And sometimes we might go in the wrong direction. Although I never think that something is wrong, even if you perhaps get sidetracked for a little bit. And so for me, nothing is really wrong. Even if you decide later on, I pivot and do something else. We always learn something when we approach a new venture. So for me, it is also a question that I have asked a lot during my lifetime. And I've been around the block for a little while, right? But the most important part is for me to understand what is it that drives me in this moment in time. And one, I wouldn't say mistake, but one of those, well, how should I explain it? It's not a mistake, but one of the things I did, sometimes I held on too long to a direction because, I have that determination sometimes. I have to make that work. I have to make that work. I have to make that work. And actually, I hear that a lot also from my clients. Well, I signed up now for this course, or I got into this new venture and I have to make it work. No, you don't. You don't have to do anything. If we are honest with ourselves, we don't have to do anything. We are the masters of our lives, of our thoughts, of our actions. And when you feel it's just not going, or it is really hard, and you come to a point where you have to decide, do I push through or do I pivot? It's a decision that you have to make, and nobody else can take that decision away from you. But here is my piece of advice that I can give because I apply that to my own life. When you feel dissatisfied with something so bad that it affects your well being, the joy of life, then you have to start to rethink about that. And I did many times, starting when I was a young adult, where I was in a wrong job. And that's because I didn't know at that time. And I did what many of us do. I listened to the well meant advice of my dad, who said, Sabine, find a job with benefits and a good salary so you can pay your bills and have something left over to pursue your hobbies and do the things you like to do. Sounds good, right? And I did. And at that point, I didn't know what my passion was, what I really wanted. So I got my associate's degree in business and ended up working for an insurance company. I was in an office, and that's definitely not me. I love independence. I love creativity. So I worked there for a while, but then it came to a point that it affected my well being. I got bored. I started eating too much and had those candies on my desk because sugar is one of the most undervalued drugs that we have. It gives us that good feeling, right? Boosts all those very short-term feel good hormones. And it just sustains you for a while, but then you feel dissatisfied in many other areas, and so it was for me. And one day, I asked the question that is crucial, and we all, I believe, many maybe, not all, but I think many of us do that. And I did. What is mine to do? Or what's next? What is it really that I'm good at? Or why am I here? All these questions, right? That really determines where we want to go. But first, ask this question. And as we can read in the good book, ask and ye shall receive. So I I did that, and the answer came. And I still remember, like it was yesterday. I got out of the subway just a couple days later after I asked these questions. After I asked this question in my office, being unhappy and asking, okay, I cannot do this for the next 40 years. That was a big realization for me to begin with. Gosh, for the next 40 years, because that's what it was. I grew up in Germany, so you go to work for 40 years, retire, and then what? I don't know. But it was really frightening. And that's when I asked the question, what is mine to do? What's the next thing? I cannot do this. And when I, a couple of days later, walked down from the subway to my home, I saw a familiar face. My former drama and music teacher, Mr. Herbst. And so I was really happy to see him. And we had a little chit chat. And then he asked me if I still was active with my singing group, my acting group, and all the things that I did while I was in school. And I said, no. And he said, you're not doing anything in the creative area anymore? I said, no. And then he said, what a shame, Sabine. You are so talented. That was unexpected, but it started something within me. It became, oh my gosh, yes, he is right. That's what I love to do. That's my talent. And guess what? I went home. The next day, I opened up the yellow pages. Yeah, it was a while ago. I wish we had Google at that time, but the internet wasn't even invented yet. I know that dates me, but we had to do it the hard way. But no matter what, I had no idea what to do, how to become a professional actress. But I thought, I think I need to go to school. So I looked for acting schools. So I called, scheduled an audition, and I had no idea how to audition. And you see, this is the thing. The how will be presented to you. But you have to get started if you want to change something, if you want to do something different. Just get started and the how will show up. And so it did for me. I have to do a audition, meaning I have to do a monologue or something. So I picked up, we had like these little booklets that we read in German class. It was a play. So I looked for the biggest paragraph that I could find. And that's when I realized, oh, okay, well, you let me memorize that. That's when I memorized this biggest paragraph that I could find. Not really seeing that this was actually the direct the male role. It was an investigator, the director, private investigator that came, and and then actually I said, "Oh no, okay, I think I have to do a scene." So I also memorized the female role, and when I got to do my audition at the school, I hopped back from one role to another. and I had a hat, like a little cap or something, and I did the director, the male role. Yeah, and I talked to that person. And then I switched back, took the cap off, and then I turned around and then I talked to that person. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. It was hilarious. But I think that was just me being so raw, so just me, no idea what to do, but I did it. And it was very funny. So I think the auditioner saw that funny side in me that I had, that I didn't know I had. But, uh, well, long story short, I was accepted. And then, okay, but what's next? I have to pay for it myself. So I was still working. I said, okay, it was a private school. I could do it. But then I had to tell my family. And at that time, actually, I was engaged. Yep. And I told my fiance, and he said, "What are you nuts? Are you crazy? My family, don't do this. You will never make any money and you will starve to death. And look at all the scandals." And I mean, there were so many objections that I finally said, okay, look, I do have to give it a try because I don't want to look back 40 years from now and asking myself, why didn't you at least give it a try? So they had like a half, like a part-time program. I said, let me start with that and let me just see how it works. They said, okay, do it. So I was in that program. After 2 weeks, I knew that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I changed, I got into the full-term program, and I never looked back. So that was the first time that I followed my gut. And I just had that gumption to do it. And when I got into the program, when I came to the end, it was like a 3-year program, I did whatever I had to do. And it was hard. And see what I said at the beginning of this video. Yeah, if it's getting too hard and you feel it's not working, yeah, then change something. But it doesn't mean if it gets hard to stop, if it's something that you want to do. And for me, it was hard because I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, get myself ready, work out a little bit, go to work, then clock out at 3 o'clock or 3:30 or something, then go to school and do the things in all the classes until 9 p.m., then go home, learn my lines, and start all over Monday through Friday. Saturdays was another half day at school. So I went in the morning, did the whole morning classes, then got home again, learned my lines and read books. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. And yeah, sometimes it was hard, but it doesn't matter. And then the last half year in school, I said, okay, now I have to get serious. I really prepare for the graduation and audition already for theaters. And I quit my job. I gave my notice and I found like a part-time job that was more flexible and I could dedicate more to my acting career. And after I was done, I auditioned for the agency. It was like a government agency for actors. I auditioned and I got accepted. And then I started my audition process and I got my first role. And that was exciting. And I never looked back. That was my life for 10 years before there was another shift. But that's a story for another time. So I started out this video because I get so many questions about what should I do? What's next for me? And some even started in one direction. And even when they're working with me, they thought that this is what they want to develop, this is where they want to put their attention in. But they realized as they're working on their story, as they're working with me to be the authentic you, the authentic me, that sometimes something comes up. And that's okay. That really is okay. And you have to discern it for yourself. You don't have to make a hasty decision. But for me, this is how I lived my whole life. If there's something that I did purely for money reasons, remember, my dad said, find a good job, get enough money, right? I did, it didn't work. And then I started being in this acting field, which I loved. Yeah, it was not a lot of money at the beginning. However, if you keep working on it, continuously improving your skills, networking in your field, the money will follow. And going back to my acting career, after 2 years being a stage actress, I landed a role on TV, and we only filmed for 6 weeks over the summer. But during that time, I made the money that I usually made the entire year working as a claim adjuster. See, when you do what you love what you do, the money will follow. So I was well compensated during my acting career, right? But I also did something that I didn't enjoy. Some later in my life, um, I thought, I have to do this real estate thing now because that's where you make money. I kind of lost a little bit my aim for what I really love to do, serving people, teaching, coaching, inspiring, speaking, being on stages. And we all have those pivotal moments, those shift in our life. And I did. And I got down that wrong path, so to speak. I invested a lot of money, and I don't even want to tell that number because it was a lot. So for me, it was, whew, I cannot stop because I invest so much money. I cannot stop because I said I would do this. I cannot stop because other people think you fill in the blank. But eventually, I had to make a decision for my own well being. Say, you know what, Sabine, cut the losses, do it, and move on. And I did. I cut the losses. And I'm glad that I did because other beautiful things came into my life. So when you ask yourself the question, what is next? Or should I stay in this profession? Should I do what I said I would do because I said I would do it? Forget about the shoulds. Think about the coulds. What could happen in my life if I do what I love to do? Even if they may not be the money in at the beginning. If you put your attention and your focus into an area that you enjoy, that you love to do, the money will follow. What you focus on will grow. Where you put your attention on will expand. So that's the piece of advice that I can give you from my personal experience. But of course, you are you discern for yourself. And we all are working on different human desires, right? Or the needs that we have. There are six human needs, but I can go into that another time. I think I could talk here for hours, but to give you just this little piece that might help you. Okay, there's we all have human needs, and there are like six major human needs. And the four important one that everybody has is we need security, right? Security means a roof over our head, right? Enough money to feed ourselves. That's the security. And then we need variety. Oh, I enjoy being at different places. Maybe I'm moving a lot. I definitely did. And then there is um, so we have security, variety, um, love and connections. Yes, that's another very important part. We all need that. We thrive on those, right? And some people have that uh, importance for love. Maybe they're caregivers, nurses, right? That's a human need. And then the fourth human need is significance. We all want to feel significant. But here's the thing, for some people, security is more important. That's the number one, that they thrive on that. And they may be into numbers or, you know, things like a government job that has more security. And there's no good or bad. It's not, one is not better than the other. It just is. And so you have to understand that when that is your main driver, maybe it's security is, then you're probably finding yourself more in jobs or situations that is more secure. But if you're someone like me, where variety and significance are my main drivers, significance, yeah, hey, I was on stage, I was in the spotlight. That's definitely significant, right? And then I moved a lot. I love to travel. That's the variety. Security is on the bottom of my list. So, okay. I mean, I, it didn't matter to me because I always know my life always will go on. It's always going to be okay. And yeah, so that is in a nutshell. Oh, yeah, I said six human needs. So the other two for me came in much, much later. For others, they may be right there, but they are not um, that they're very, very important. But I said for the survival, those four are important. But when you add the other two human needs to your life will blossom. And of course, I heard the first time about the six human needs when I started working with Tony Robbins. I went to many of his events and I was in his business mastery. And I think he's such a significant personality and human being. I was in one of his event in one of the VP section. And I was standing right next to me, this man, larger than life. And he is a tall man, a large man. And I just felt that genuine humanness within him. But I learned a lot about the human needs, especially those two human needs that make up your life when it blossoms. One of them is growth, and the other is giving or contribution. And when I started the growth process, the personal development, and that is when I moved to the States and started my business, I needed to grow in all areas to become a successful business owner. That's when things started to shift. But also the giving, when I started to realize that part of it, my gosh, that's when my life really took a turn to the greater experiences in life where I could make a greater difference. And As I moved on, it got even more elevated and expanded. So those are the 6 human needs. Once you realize, huh, what drives me? Is it security? Is it variety? Is it love and connections? Or is it significance? And again, it doesn't matter which one. We thrive on all 4, but the order is the difference. Where do you thrive most of, right? And for me, it was, I think variety is my first one, and then significance, and then love and connection, and then security. That's the order for me. But yours could be the opposite, and all kinds of variation. Think about that. And like I said, it's not good or bad, but that's where you thrive. That's where you get your most out of, I suppose. And then go in that direction and just take a look at it. But don't forget the last 2, the growth and the giving. Always grow. Because if we stop growing, we stop life. And I'm not meaning it literally, but if we do not grow, and it's with everything in life, if it's your personal life, life general, if it's not growing, it eventually starts retracting and dying, right? So that's important to understand. Always grow constantly, constantly. And then, of course, the giving part. And we can give in many different ways. You can give of your time, volunteering, your talent, what you're good at, and give this to an organization, or be a mentor for someone. And you're a treasure, money, monetary. You can give, and you can do all 3. And that's what I do. And I give my times on you know, on Mondays, I go on my Owl app, which, by the way, you want to look into it. It's great to connect there. But on Mondays, we have Mentor Mondays. So I go on there and people can connect with me and I give my advice. And there are many other ways I mentor, I give my time, talent, and treasure. So think about that for yourself. All right. This was my real talk for today. And if you enjoy it, of course, I appreciate if you can give me thumbs up, subscribe, because I want to do more of those. Subscribe to my channel and share it with your friend. And of course, if you have a question, you can put it in the comments. I check it out. And as I go live more often, I think we can even interact with that. But today I just wanted to talk and just give you some of my stories, my pieces of advice that I have. And again, if you have a question or a comment, please put it in the comment section whenever you see it. And I will look through it. And if there's a question for next time that I can answer, put it in there and I will do that. All right, my friend, this is it. I wish you a productive week and just go with your gut. If you have a question, what's next? Go with your gut feeling, your intuition, and explore. And when you put that question out into the universe, be open to hear the messages because they will come. They will come in many different forms, either through a chance meeting, a person that you meet, like I did with my teacher. It can come through an email. It can come through something that you hear with inside your head, those silent voices, right? And I recall, I think it was the great late Dr. Wayne Dyer who said, silence is the only voice of God. So you sometimes have to be still and listen. And those things that pop into your mind, it's oftentimes a good indication. Okay, maybe I should explore this a little bit more. Just be open, my friend, and the answers will come. All right. Always remember, serve from the heart, follow your passion, and live the life you imagine. Till the next time, my friend, have a good one. Bye now.